It be feeling like it honestly be feeling like what I do be for nothing. But it's really a great need for what I do. It needs to not just be myself. It needs to be a lot of people doing what I'm trying to do. But it literally makes you feel insignificant. Like you're. Anyways, what it is, you guys, it is Yo Girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Hoping. Because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before it all fades to black. Yeah, this your girl Cadillac. Man, y'all, it really trips me out. Like, okay, so this morning, today been crazy. Like, my finances going to bed, and it seemed like everything is just coming out the woodworks, and it's just not working together. But I already know that's an illusion. That's an illusion. All that's going to pan out. All that's going to work out. It's all going to fall in place. Because when has God ever forsaken me? When has he ever left me without? Like, I've never been without like that. So I don't think he's going to wait till I get to this point to, start leaving me without, right? So I already know that's an illusion. But sometimes that mirage be looking real. Like, so today been a struggle. There's so much issues trying to get my daughter back on track and stuff like that. But and then I'm coming off the cusp of a 3-day visit. This was my husband. I'm gonna give you a little. I don't like to tell too much until things have been settled in. But my husband was actually transferred back to our city. Transferred back to our city. We're in the same city. This is his first time since 2002 when he was wrongfully convicted and sent all the way up that road. This is the first time this year that he has been back in Orlando. The first time. So I never really said nothing about it because, right after the shutdown of 2020, they transferred him way out to almost Georgia. So I'm sorry, Alabama. So he literally was almost 7 hours away from the house. So we weren't able to visit him. We visited him like last year, I must say twice. We went for his graduation, and that was so beautiful. I actually vlogged that. If I could find those links, I'll put that in the description box. That was beautiful when he graduated from construction school. But I think we were able to go one other time, and my finances just been going to bed. We haven't been able to see him. So for the last couple of months, he's been back in town. He's transferred back close to home, which makes it lightens the burden somewhat when you're able to see them, and it kind of closes in that distance, because when you're out of sight, you end up being out of mind, and people quickly forget about you, right? The regular, normal, run-of-the-mill people, your people go off to prison, they be a figment of your imagination and end up being someone of the past, right? Not too many people hold their people down. If they do, it's a short-lived hold down, Or they'll start holding you down right before you about to get released. That's when they'll jump in the game. It's like that double dutch when you doing like this, and then okay, he about to come home. He about to come home soon, and then you jump in there like you been there that whole time, girl. You ain't been, you ain't been here. Like who been here with me riding this dusty road, girl? So he's back in town, and his fear. My daughter just had my grandson, and our granddaughter is 2 years old. So he met our granddaughter when she was months old, and he did not see her again until she was 2. Prior to seeing her at 2, he was like, he was kind of like venting. He's like, she's not going to know me. I mean, y'all can't come up that road like that. I miss my daughter being, growing up due to this. And now I'm literally about to miss the second go round. This the last go round, right? Because baby factory is closed. I tried to keep it open for him. I tried. I did. But if I don't have like a baby like the day after tomorrow, girl, it's going to be a wrap. It's going to be a wrap. But girl, that longing for children, more children. Do you know how long I longed for that? To just have a child, another child, a whole family like with my husband. And grandchildren, baby, them your children. So it's like I got 2. Y'all know how I love the kids. I got everybody kid. Everybody kid be my kid, right? But it's something about them grandchildren. It's like, and God gave me 2 of them. I got one child. We have one child. We have 2 grandchildren. So his fear was that he was going to miss his granddaughter growing up. So shortly after, for me, when stuff ain't working right, I let it go. And I'd be like, well, I guess it just ain't, that just ain't what it is. And I try not to dwell there. So I'll engulf myself in doing other stuff. I do my project Reach the World, my art, music, poetry, whatever I create. Y'all see on my banner, all my art forms. I use all my art forms to get through all my dark storms. And that's for real. Art is and creating is what has gotten me through some tough times. Right? And that's what's gotten me through my husband's wrongful conviction. We're 22 years in on his wrongful 40-year conviction. So he's just a little bit past the halfway mark. So this is the first time he's back in the same city. So I've been taking my granddaughter to see him like weekly. And then this week was a 3-day week. Like, it hurt my little pockets. It did. But you just don't know the joy of looking over and seeing, oh my God. Like one of the days, my grandson came. My grandson's only 2 months old. And to look at him looking down and holding his grandson, like, we quickly warped back to 2001 when I had my daughter. And then to see him able to chase my granddaughter be gone. She be getting it. And he be chasing. And then what's so funny, her legs are not straight. So her legs flip in like this. And she trying to run with these little legs. She be tripping over her own legs. Oh, it's so cute. But he can chase her. And she be chasing him. And it's just a blessing. It is a blessing. So once they strip your family from you, and the little fragment of pieces that you can have, to have just a little piece of your family, oh my gosh, it just means so much. So I was really tired, exhausted, because it's literally, let me tell you how it went. Vizzo, that's slang for visitation, had drop off my daughter, grandkids, and the grandkids, Zoom to work at a theme park. Get off, get home by like 12 in the morning, uh, go to sleep, wake back up, Zoom to Vizzo. Pick up the grandchild, Zoom to Vizzo. Get off, Zoom to work, and then work till 12 in the morning. And then got off and went to Vizzo. Right? And then after Vizzo, instead of resting, girl, when do this Cadillac ever park? When? Like literally, do I even have one of those little, do I have the P on my car? Like, you know, I got the P, the R, the N, the D. Do I have a park? Like, for real. So I'll never stop going. So my little nephew, because you know all of the kids are my kids. Like I got everybody kids. My sister is blessed to have 3 kids, and they're my babies, like for real. And this is my older baby. He's 13, so he went on his first date. So we chaperoned, and then got up and went to Vizzo. So I'm tired, and then had to work the next morning, which was today, right? So I'm like exhausted. I'm already, they be with this foolishness. If you watch my last few videos, you know the foolishness they be doing at work. You know the challenges I be going through, and I'm like, oh, how did it already turn over Tuesday where it's time for me to go on to work? Like how is it already Tuesday? Why is it? Oh, hold on. Today is $5 movie day. I might hit up the movies. Yeah, that might make my daughter feel a little better because she going through some stuff. But anyway, so I go to work. I'm tired. I barely get out that bed. I have to get up extra early because I'm caregiver to my sister, so I gotta help her get ready first, and then I gotta get ready, and then I zoom off. So as I'm sitting there, what comes across my algorithm? Y'all tell me, ain't no way he was wrongfully convicted. Ain't no way 12 jurors just found him wrongfully convicted. Someone told me that N word most likely did it. Don't even know him from nowhere, but the N word most likely did it. And everything else when I get out here and tell my story. My family most likely won't get relief. My husband won't get relief from his wrongful conviction if I do not break his story. I have been trying to break his story from 2002. We are in 2024. So I have unsuccessfully broken his story, right? And for the longest when I was on Facebook, boy, they used to laugh at me bad, talk about me bad. You can't find nobody free. Well, I probably could. Like, I used to be cute and stuff. Like, I could have found many men's that was free, girl, but I want my husband. I'm not just trying to find any substitution. Like, literally, like, there was no. So people done gave me the side eye, then gave me, looked at me crazy, then talked about me because I'm fighting injustice. My family was ripped apart and I'm seeking help. But upon seeking help and never getting it, I realized that this can't all be in vain. We couldn't have all went through this ringer for nothing. Like, that's a cruel joke. There's no way that God would allow us to go through this for nothing. So because I have been through this and been down this dark, horrible, lonely, dusty road where you are looked down upon, you are looked to look like the lowest of the low. And because I've been through so much and I've experienced so much, and I know a lot about the justice system, I know a lot about the prison system, I know a lot about injustice is that happen. I tell my stories because I know there's the next coming down that road. Because we don't want to fix this system. My husband was not the first wrongfully convicted, and he will not be the last. Unfortunately. We got to break that generational curse off our family. Because I have a grandson now. I have nephews. Right? But I see come across my algorithm a short. I'm going to play the short and play a couple of videos. I'm going to respond to it. But guess what? Another man, most times, 9 times out of 10, black. And he is black. Black men lead in wrongful convictions. And people tell me all the time, well, duh, because that's who's out there committing all the crimes. Well, I got issues with that as well. That's the illusion that they would like for you to. So nobody cares. Nobody, they, I don't know. But I see this sad story. Well, it's a beautiful story too. It's sad, but it's beautiful. This man, wrongfully convicted, his name is Benjamin Spencer. Benjamin Spencer just released from his wrongful conviction. I believe it was 5 days ago. I'm sorry. This is all these. I never turn my tablet on, so when I turn it on, it starts to give me all these needless. I don't even care about notifications, all this junk stuff. Trying to get it to connect to my phone so that we can review this story. Give me 1 second. See, I was going to finish the story time about my work challenges, but this is a topic that hits my heart. It's so close to my heart because we lived through this. Like, people, when you find out about a wrongful conviction, the first thing people want to say is, how could this have ever happened? How they need to give them $1 million and this and that. Even $1 million could not equate to what what they've taken from not just that person. They took the whole family through the ringer. When one person goes to prison, the whole family. My daughter did time wrongfully in prison with her father. I did time wrongfully in prison with my husband. My husband is currently doing time wrongfully in prison, and his life is passing. So you not only ruin, and who actually committed the crime is free on the streets to commit more crimes. So you have not solved a case, you have torn two families apart. And because this happens, I believe they make it harder for you to overturn it and to even break the story, because they don't really truly want people to know that this happens a lot. Benjamin Spencer, 37 years wrongfully in prison, just released.
4 years in prison after being wrongfully convicted, was exonerated Thursday. 59-year-old Benjamin Spencer was convicted of robbery and
59.
murder in 1987. Prosecution witnesses, including a jail
87. I literally was only 5 going on 6 years old. I'm in my almost mid 40s. And this man been wrongfully convicted since I was a baby.
House informants seeking sentence leniency were found to have given false testimony. Spencer spoke in court thanking his legal team and asking people to remember the victim who lost his life almost 40 years ago.
Handsome man. My God, he's handsome. Look at him. You took that man's life like it wasn't nothing. Look at him. Handsome man. God. And they keep doing it. It was a mistake.
I'd ask that you pray for the young family, be mindful, and I'd ask that we don't forget that myself and my family, and I'd ask that we don't forget
people to remember the victim who lost his life almost 40 years ago.
And I'd ask that we don't forget that myself and my family, we're not the only victims in this, but the young family were victims as well, because they lost a loved one, and the person who was actually responsible for what happened to Jeffrey Young was not brought to justice.
Thank you for saying that.
So I'd ask that you pray for the young.
Wasn't brought to justice in almost 40 years, and I'm sure he committed more crimes while he was out.
Be mindful of them in this manner, because they still lost a loved one. So I don't want them to be forgotten in this. Thank you.
Wow.
Texas man who spent 34 years.
This is why I do this. There may not be no more hope for my husband and our family to be together. There is hope. Let me tell you that. Screw that. There's hope. Because now my husband only has 13 more wrongful years to do of his 40-year sentence. So there's hope. 13 years we still alive, he'll be here. So there's hope. But the hope of breaking his story and him being freed, like I envisioned when I was a young 20-something-year-old, that ship is just about sailed. Right? But this is why I push for this. There are so many more. My husband is one. And that's why when we do interviews together and he's on here, his name is one of many. He's one of many. That's what he goes by. But he's actually one of many people wrongfully incarcerated. When I advocate for the inhumane living conditions of prisons, I am told all the time that them people shouldn't have did what they did. Who cares? Do the crime. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And all that BS, not knowing that you could quickly be in those shoes. It's like a trap door. I'm telling you, you could easily fall in it. I could have been wrongfully convicted. I even wrote a song about that. What if it was you? And you were up the road and gone for some you didn't do, and it'd be decades for you get back home. Hey, what if it were you that was taken from your kids? Now they life you missing. Your lucky stars, you better thank them that you ain't in this wicked system. Cause Lord knows that it could have been, yeah, it could have been you. It's your girl Cadillac. Any of us. Stop taking that higher than thou, sit up high, and look down low and proceed to judge people that are in prison. You don't know whether they deserve or don't deserve. And because of the broken system, you got many people out here free that should actually be in prison. But because it's a will and deal game, many of them are out here amongst us rather than in prison. And many innocent are in prison than rather out here amongst us, right? So I don't know. And I've really been asking, I've been praying that God reveals to me, like, because I've been going back and forth about this, like, should I even be fighting this battle? Should I even be fighting? Is there a purpose in this? Does he want me to fight wrongful convictions? Because I'm now all the way 20 years down this road, and I'm like, maybe God didn't never want me to do this, and this was something I took upon myself to do. So I'm waiting on him to reveal to me, does he even want me to do this, right? But God dog it. This is why I do it, because there's many people. Do you know you barely get these overturned? So you know how many more are sitting in them prisons, right? Many of our sons, many of our, I hate to say it, grandsons and nephews will be those bed fillers of the future, because we're not stopping it, right? But I'm going to do it until God say, Keita, don't do that. I don't want you doing that. Leave it alone. But I'm going to keep doing it till I hear that. 37 years took of this man's life. And the longest wrongful conviction, he's still Kevin Strickland. 43 years wrongfully incarcerated. Man ended up in a wheelchair from the having to sleep on the shelves. It's not set up for humans, really, to be in there. And we justify it because it's not us, so we don't care. And because these people shouldn't have did what they did. But what if you got all the justice you deserved in your life? You can't set yourself higher than someone else, not knowing that you could have did worse than they did. And by the grace of God, you're not sitting in that cell. It's them, not you. It's me crying out for my family, not you. By grace of God, you're not me, right? Let's listen to this second video. It's a little longer video, but this is crazy. And why they all coming out now? Just think about it. If we actually did, and then what's so crazy, it wouldn't even let me, because I always put my testimony of how I've been fighting for my husband for the last 22 years and had to raise my child through prison visits and expensive calls that they know we can't afford. You not only take the man out of our house, but then you also take basically our life savings by trying to stay in communication, trying to keep them fed, trying to keep you. It's a money. Okay. But you not only take the viable part of our family, the backbone of our family, you then take our finances to try to keep our family together, right? So I just try to tell my little testimony. 22 years fighting for my husband, raised my daughter from 9 months old to 23 years old through prison visits. And my husband still will not be free from his wrongful conviction until our 2-year-old granddaughter is almost 17 years old. That's all I wanted to put under the comments under that video. And it wouldn't allow me. See, they block every entrance to justice. This is why we can't get justice. This is why. I got the perfect picture. I drew it. I'm going to link it to, I don't even be on my Facebook like that, but I'm going to link that. It's a drawing. And it's like, we're silenced. You can't get a word out. Can't tell your story. Can't get heard. Can't get nothing. So you don't get resolution, and you just end up having to play out that wrongful conviction or most of that wrongful conviction. Valentino Dixon, the man that drew his way out of prison, wrongfully incarcerated for 27 years. These are long numbers, y'all. When a wrongful conviction happened, it ain't 2 years, 3 years. That's unheard of. 10 years is a short wrongful conviction. These are decades. They're taking your lifetime for something you did not do. Lifetime. And it's supposed to be all right. Trying to skip this ad. Really, it just plays the ad.
Was convicted in Dallas 37 years ago for the robbery and murder of a Dallas man named Jeffrey Young.
Today, he was exonerated, declared actually innocent, and received an apology from the state of Texas.
Apology. At this point, keep your little apology. What is a apology?
For the emotion-packed hearing.
Clapping and cheering in the Dallas County Courthouse as Benjamin Spencer and family enter Judge Leila Larnay's courtroom to hear what he's waited 37 years for.
It is with deep regret that we acknowledge the great miscarriage of justice that has occurred.
Miscarriage of justice. They always say that.
We owe you an apology. The only thing we can never pay back is time.
59-year-old Benjamin Spencer knows how precious time is. Convicted at age 22 for the robbery and murder of Dallas businessman Jeffrey Young, on the word of 3 eyewitnesses and a jailhouse informant.
Did you hear that? I got videos about that. Eyewitness misidentification is one of the leading causes in wrongful convictions. Second leading cause is prosecutorial misconduct. Why do wrongful convictions always have the same elements? And I'm going to point out the next part.
Time, those witnesses recanted their testimony. Benjamin serving 34 years of a life sentence. He maintained his innocence. His word never wavered.
But you know what? At this point, I do say that praise God. Anybody that have an outdate needs to be grateful and thankful. Because my husband, he go through it a lot. He's like 40 years. I got 40 freaking years. They've taken everything. Like literally, he's honestly you've taken everything from him. His ability to do anything. You've taken it. You've taken his career, his job career, what he could have been, what he would have been, what he should have been. They took it, right? And reduced it down to nothing but scum. You're a prisoner. You're an inmate, right? But I have to remind him that, it's a lot of people that was wrongfully. That happens too. And there's a lot of people that wrongfully have life sentences wrongfully. So if you have an outdate, you have got to be thankful and grateful to God that you have an outdate, because there's so many people that don't have an outdate.
The last 3 years, he's been out of prison, waiting to learn if the case against him would be dismissed or if he would face trial again. Dallas attorney Cheryl Wadley and Jim McCloskey of Centurion Ministries have fought for Ben the last 20 years.
20
We
years.
went to John Crusoe's 4 predecessors.
So he's done 37 years. It took him 17 years into his wrongful conviction before someone listened to his story and started helping him fight. Because look, I can't break my husband's story on my own. This is why I never broke it, because I'm trying to do this on my own. Like, literally. You can't do it. You can't. It's impossible. And I know they know that. This is why they stand so long, right? 17 years in, and then 20 years later, he's free. That's why I'm like, at this point, you got 13 years. By the time I even get anybody to start fighting with me, you probably end up being home anyway.
District attorneys. We met with them in their office. Over all those years, every single one were dismissive of our president.
They're dismissive. They won't listen. It's nowhere to go. If you know all them people you thinking about, well, why don't you go to the NAACP, or why don't you go to the blah, 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 or you go to the blah, 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 blah. Baby, I done been to all those places. They don't just help you like that. Many of them tell you they don't even fight things like that. So where you go? Where do you really, tell me where to really go, right?
Laying out to them the evidence
dismissed
and
him.
why we believe Ben Spencer was innocent.
And honestly, I think they know when people are innocent in prison. That's the one they really gonna get that cold shoulder to.
Spencer would not be with his wife and family, they say, without John Crusoe.
I know how the district attorney's office worked. I know how the judicial system worked. And it's painful to look back and see that this type of result
doesn't work.
happened.
I want to apologize to you for this great injustice.
Chief of the Conviction Integrity Unit,
Save
Cynthia
this little
Garza,
play.
herself
This is
emotional,
stage
embraced
play.
Benjamin Spencer, apologizing for the wrong he suffered, asking the judge to dismiss the case, and that Benjamin Spencer is actually innocent.
It's heartbreaking, honestly. It's heartbreaking to see a miscarriage of justice in this way.
You know, I literally was just reading the story of Joseph. No, Joseph was wrongfully incarcerated. And when he ended up coming back in contact with his brothers, and they thought he was going to be like, could you imagine when you face that person that put you in prison, right? So they was expecting Joseph to react one way towards them. And Joseph was actually forgiving. He realized that had he not went through all that jail, because you know I said jail is hell, all that jail he went through, he wouldn't be second in command over Egypt. Like, literally, they pushed him into his destiny. So I was just, it's ironic that I was reading that yesterday, and then this morning I wake up and I see this story. So it got to be a purpose. That's all we really got to hold on to now. That there's no way that God would allow this to happen without purpose behind it. It's got to be a purpose. It's a purpose in this. It's got to be.
A miscarriage of justice in this way. But it's also heartbreaking for the families
It
of our
sure is.
victims.
And the Spencer
More
address
than heartbreaking is life altering, is life delaying, is life stopping, is life limiting. You know how many issues my daughter have from her father being snatched out her life.
He asked his supporters to be mindful of Jeffrey Young's family.
Because they lost a loved one, and the person who
They
was
a
actually
victim too.
responsible for what happened
They
to
got
Jeffrey
to
Young
find out 40 years later almost
Justice was indeed delayed.
that the person that they all this time thought, because they believe in this system, this justice, right? The person all this time that they thought did harm to their loved one has had to pay back, like, basically, it's almost, it's like it gives you a little piece of a small minute piece, right, of comfort knowing that they did not get away with this. But now 40 years later, the family finds out that they did get away with taking our loved one. I've never had a loved one taken like that, but I did have my mama pass from negligence. When she went in for routine procedure. And if you see these people get away with it, it just does something. You mean my mama, you reduce my mama to nothing? You just let him go? Like nothing? He doesn't have to pay nothing for the. You took my whole mother at 53 years old. She literally just got her master's and was getting her doctorate, and you reduced her down to being nothing. And you go free. You walk away, nothing happens to you. Like, I know that pain. So I know the pain of losing a loved one at the hand of someone else and then seeming like they get away with it. So now you reopen those wounds of that family that may have been on the road to healing. You'll never get over something like that, right? But may have been far along the road of healing, and now you've reopened their wounds. Can you imagine how many stories there are just like this? It's very similar. I study wrongful convictions. They usually always have the same components. So are these accidents?
Young was not brought to justice.
Benjamin Spencer, justice was indeed delayed, but not denied, even if he can't turn back the hands of time.
Wow.
I'm just excited that this day has finally come. I mean, it's one day for a wrongful conviction or an arrest is too long.
One day, that's what he just said. One day of wrongful conviction is too much. Even just doing one day wrongfully.
37 years of wrongful conviction is a lifetime. I mean, there's no way I can retain those years. But I'm happy.
Getting out, ain't got no money, ain't got no job. You made your family, half of them could be passed on. Half of them you've been out of sight, out of mind. They may not even be there. You don't have a support system. You're literally a much older person, adult. But just praise God, he's free.
There was never any physical evidence.
Did you hear that? Most wrongful conviction, including in my husband's case, there is no physical evidence. There's no evidence in my husband's case. Matter of fact, there's more evidence that he didn't do this crime they allege he did than that he did. There's nothing saying that he did. More is saying that this never happened. This is fabricated. But they don't look at the evidence, right?
To the robbery murder. The evidence that was available, fingerprints lifted from the victim's car, did not match Spencer. They mysteriously disappeared.
Would that have been a clue? Fingerprints lifted from the car does not match Spencer. Was that not like a clue? Like, was that not like a lifeline clue? That, like, hey, call your lifeline. Hey, if the fingerprints don't match the person that we got there, do you think they still did this crime? Oh, yeah, they had to have done it. They had to. Police wouldn't just arrest the wrong guy.
Into the record, into the court testimony, never being shared with his defense attorney.
Wow.
Since 2001, 46 men in Dallas County have spent time in...
Whoa. Since 2001, 46. Now, you got to look at this exponentially, right? Very few, a very minute few wrongful convictions get overturned. So those are the ones that you really know about, that you can read articles about, that I report about, that actually conclude that they were wrongfully convicted, right? Ain't no more skepticism, if that's the right word, right? They're actually wrongfully convicted. So very few get overturned. And I actually have a video of why wrongful convictions take so long to overturn and why they're so difficult to overturn, right? Because there's a lot of people holding them in place for justice. But 46. So for the 46, you gotta times that to the exponent. It's way more that's still there. Yeah. Way more still there.
Prison for crimes they did not commit. 46 men wasting away in prison have been actually exonerated and declared innocent.
Yep.
Now, Benjamin Spencer, part of that fraternity.
So that made
Sean
47.
Brown, Fox 4 News.
That wasn't my video. That was from Fox 4 News. But, girl, I really wish we cared. Because it's me today. It's somebody else tomorrow. It's a girl that I follow on TikTok. She's advocating for her father and her uncle who's wrongfully incarcerated from the same incident. Like, it's so many that are wrongfully incarcerated, and it ain't hardly nothing you can do. It's like pulling alligator teeth to ask people to just look at your petition. Just look at the evidence I have. Look what I'm presenting in front of you. They won't even look. They won't even look. They turn their heads. They push you off. They say, well, you're basically reduce you down. You're a prisoner's wife. That's why I advocate also for prison wives. We didn't do anything wrong. Even some that actually did their crimes do not deserve the way they're being treated within prison. And the reason I say that is because punishment and crime don't always equal. Sometimes you get more time because your skin brown like mine. Same crime, but you get more time, right? So justice is not really equal. So many people have served and they're giving out more time than they should have. So many of these archaic laws are being overturned, but they don't make them retroactive, meaning if you come in and commit the same crime, you're going to get what you should be sentenced now, possibly. And the person that has been held on that wrongful, like archaic law won't get any relief because they don't retroact it. They don't make it right for the ones that they've already screwed over. So, I don't know. But ain't nothing I could do, right? I gave you the story. I continue to tell my story. And hopefully I'm going to lap it up. Hopefully we figure out these little finances so that we can get up on our feet, right? And then I might be back with my story time part 3 of my work. No, are we on part 3? Yeah, it would be part 3 because I was supposed to record that now, but I'm like, I gotta do this. But go check out the last live. I did finish KK Set Apart to Serve Project Reach the World last night. I was tired good, but I finished at 2 a.m. Actually, so that was this morning at 2 a.m. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Please stop being so judgmental. Hear people out because you never know when you could walk in those people's shoes, right? All right. Hiss your girl Cadillac.